Have you ever wondered why some people seem completely untouchable by toxic behavior, while others get pulled into every drama storm that passes by? I'm about to share something that might surprise you. After years of watching people struggle with toxic relationships, I've discovered that the strongest individuals weren't born that way. They were forged by the very people who tried to break them. What I'm going to tell you today goes against everything you've been taught about dealing with toxic people. You've been told to set boundaries, cut them off, avoid them completely. But here's the truth that nobody talks about. Toxic people are everywhere. You cut one out, another shows up. You avoid them at work, but they're in your family. You think changing cities will help. Think again. The smartest way to deal with toxic people isn't about them at all. It's about becoming someone so unshakable, so emotionally intelligent, that their poison can't penetrate your system. It's about understanding that every toxic person who enters your life is actually handing you a masterclass in becoming unstoppable. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn your worst experiences with toxic people into your greatest source of strength. Number 1, the realization that changes everything. They only have power if you give it to them. Let me tell you about Margaret, a woman I met who worked in a high-pressure corporate environment. She had a boss who seemed to thrive on humiliating employees in meetings, especially her. For months, Margaret would come home exhausted, replaying every cruel comment, every public embarrassment. She'd lie awake at night, heart racing, planning what she should have said. Then one day, something clicked. Margaret realized that her boss's behavior said absolutely nothing about her worth and everything about his own insecurity. She stopped reacting. When he made cutting remarks, she simply nodded and continued with her work. When he tried to provoke her in meetings, she responded with calm professionalism. The transformation was remarkable. Within weeks, her boss's attacks became less frequent, without her emotional reaction to feed off. He lost interest and moved on to someone else who would give him the drama he craved. Margaret had discovered the first secret. Toxic people are like emotional vampires. They can only drain you if you let them bite. Here's what science tells us about this dynamic. When we react emotionally to toxic behavior, our brains release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals literally hijack our rational thinking and keep us in survival mode. But when we learn to stay calm, we maintain access to our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for logic and emotional regulation. The solution is simple but not easy. Master your emotional responses. Start by recognizing that every time someone tries to push your buttons, they're actually showing you exactly where your emotional vulnerabilities lie. Instead of getting upset, get curious. Ask yourself why their words affected you. What insecurity are they poking at? Once you identify it, you can strengthen that area. Remember this. Their behavior is information about them, not about you. A secure, emotionally healthy person doesn't need to tear others down to feel good about themselves. Number 2, the truth about toxic people that nobody tells you. Here's something that might make you pause and reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever noticed that toxic people don't treat everyone badly? They're actually quite strategic in choosing their targets. They don't waste their time on people who won't engage with their drama. If you've been targeted by toxic behavior repeatedly, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you have qualities they desperately want: empathy, kindness, the ability to see the best in others. You're probably someone who gives second chances, who doesn't want to seem like the bad guy, who struggles with letting go of relationships. These are beautiful qualities, but toxic people see them as weaknesses to exploit. They've trained you to feel guilty for putting yourself first, to question your own perceptions, to stay in situations that drain you because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Understanding this psychological dynamic is crucial because it helps you see the situation clearly. You're not dealing with someone who occasionally behaves badly. You're dealing with someone who has made a lifestyle out of emotional manipulation. They understand exactly what they're doing. They just don't care about the impact on you. What you can do right now, start noticing your patterns. When you interact with toxic people, do you find yourself over-explaining, defending yourself repeatedly, trying to prove your worth? These are signs that you've been conditioned to accept unacceptable behavior. The moment you recognize these patterns, you can start breaking them. Take a moment to like this video if you're starting to see these patterns in your own life. Your support helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. Number 3, why your reaction is their weapon. Let me share Robert's story. Robert had a brother who seemed to live for family gatherings where he could make cutting remarks about Robert's career choices, his relationship status, his life decisions. For years, Robert would take the bait every single time. He'd argue back, defend himself, try to prove his worth. Family dinners became battlefields, and Robert always left feeling drained and angry. One Thanksgiving, Robert decided to try something different. When his brother made his usual sarcastic comments, Robert simply smiled and said, "That's an interesting perspective," then changed the subject. When his brother escalated, trying harder to get a reaction, Robert remained calm and unengaged. Something fascinating happened. His brother's behavior actually got worse before it got better. He tried harder to provoke Robert, made meaner comments, even brought up painful childhood memories. But Robert held his ground. Within an hour, his brother had moved on to picking on someone else, and by the end of the evening, he was actually making an effort to have a normal conversation with Robert. This illustrates a crucial psychological principle. Toxic people escalate when they feel their control slipping. When you stop giving them the emotional reaction they're addicted to, they panic. They'll try everything to pull you back into their game because without your response, they feel powerless. From a neurological standpoint, toxic people get an actual dopamine hit when they successfully manipulate your emotions. They become addicted to the feeling of control they get from making you react. But when you stop feeding this addiction, they're forced to find their supply elsewhere. The key is understanding that staying calm isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about choosing not to let their dysfunction dictate your emotional state. You can acknowledge internally that their behavior is inappropriate while externally remaining unshakable. Practical steps. Practice the pause technique. When someone says something designed to hurt you, take 3 deep breaths before responding. This gives your rational brain time to engage. Often, you'll find that the best response is no response at all. Number 4, the freedom that comes from not caring about their opinion. Have you ever noticed how much mental energy you spend thinking about what toxic people think of you? How much time you waste replaying conversations, wondering if you said the right thing, trying to figure out how to get them to see your side? This is exactly where they want you, trapped in a mental prison of seeking their approval. Here's what changed everything for me, and I believe it will change everything for you too. The moment you truly understand that their opinion is worthless, you become free, not because you're being mean or dismissive, but because you recognize that someone who treats others poorly doesn't have the emotional intelligence or character necessary to make accurate judgments about anyone. Think about it logically. Would you ask someone who's colorblind to help you pick paint colors? Would you ask someone who can't read to edit your manuscript? Then why do you give weight to the opinions of someone who lacks basic empathy and emotional maturity? A deeper truth. Most toxic people are operating from a place of deep personal pain and insecurity. Their criticism of you is really their own self-hatred projected outward. When they call you names or put you down, they're revealing their own deepest fears about themselves. Understanding this doesn't mean you excuse their behavior. It means you see it for what it really is. Noise from someone who isn't qualified to judge you. The only opinions that matter are those of people who genuinely care about your well-being and have proven their wisdom through their own actions and character. Take action. Make a list of the people whose opinions actually matter in your life. These should be people who've earned the right to speak into your life through their love, support, and wisdom. When toxic people try to drag you down, Remind yourself that they're not on this list for a very good reason. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to our channel. We're build a community of people who are committed to emotional strength and wisdom. Number 5, how pain becomes your greatest teacher. Sarah's story illustrates this beautifully. She spent 2 years in a mentally abusive relationship with someone who systematically tore down her confidence. He convinced her that she wasn't smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough. For months after the relationship ended, Sarah struggled with severe self-doubt, but something remarkable happened during her healing process. As Sarah rebuilt her self-worth, she developed an almost supernatural ability to spot manipulation tactics. She could see red flags that others missed. She became incredibly skilled at setting boundaries. Her experience had given her a level of emotional intelligence that people who'd never faced such challenges simply didn't possess. Today, Sarah helps other women recognize and escape abusive relationships. Her pain became her purpose, and her trauma became her superpower. The person who tried to destroy her inadvertently gave her the exact tools she needed to help others and build an incredibly fulfilling life. This is the paradox of dealing with toxic people. They think they're breaking you, but they're actually building you. Every insult teaches you that other people's words can't define you. Every manipulation attempt shows you exactly what healthy behavior looks like by contrast. Every boundary they cross teaches you where your limits need to be. The neuroscience behind this: overcoming adversity literally rewires your brain. It strengthens neural pathways associated with resilience, problem solving, and emotional regulation. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where people emerge from difficult experiences stronger and wiser than before. But here's the key. This transformation only happens when you choose to learn from the experience rather than stay trapped in victim mode. You have to consciously decide to extract wisdom from your pain instead of just surviving it. Your homework: write down 3 things that toxic people in your life have taught you about yourself, about boundaries, or about human nature. You'll be surprised at how much wisdom you've gained through difficult experiences. Number 6, the ultimate victory: becoming untouchable. The highest level of dealing with toxic people isn't learning to fight back. It's transcending the need to fight at all. It's reaching a place where their behavior simply doesn't register in your emotional world anymore. Not because you're numb, but because you're so secure in who you are that their opinions become irrelevant background noise. This level of emotional mastery is incredibly powerful, and it's something anyone can develop with practice. When you reach this state, something interesting happens. Toxic people actually start avoiding you because they can sense that their usual tactics won't work. They move on to easier targets, people who will still give them the drama they crave. What untouchable looks like in practice: you hear criticism and feel genuinely curious about whether there's any truth worth considering. Rather than immediately defensive, you witness someone's bad behavior and feel compassion for whatever pain drives them to act that way. While still maintaining firm boundaries, you can be in the same room as someone who used to upset you and feel completely neutral about their presence. The mindset shift that creates this: you stop taking things personally because you understand that everyone is fighting battles you know nothing about. Their behavior tells you about their internal world, not about your worth. You develop what psychologists call an internal locus of control, where your sense of self comes from within rather than from external validation. Building this superpower: start small. Practice staying calm during minor irritations. Work on your self-awareness so you can catch yourself before you react emotionally. Develop a strong sense of your own values and identity that doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. Remember, becoming untouchable doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It means being so grounded in your own worth that other people's dysfunction can't shake your foundation. Let us know in the comments. What's one situation where you'd like to practice staying emotionally untouchable? Number 7, turning your pain into purpose. Here's the most powerful part of this entire journey. Every toxic person who tried to break you was actually preparing you to help others. The empathy you develop from being hurt makes you incredibly effective at recognizing when others are struggling. The boundaries you learn to set make you a master teacher of self-respect. The strength you built overcoming manipulation makes you virtually unshakable in future challenges. Think about Marcus, a man who grew up with an extremely critical father who never seemed pleased with anything he accomplished. For years, Marcus struggled with perfectionism and never feeling good enough. But as he worked through this pain, he realized he had developed an extraordinary ability to see potential in others that they couldn't see in themselves. Marcus became a mentor to young professionals, helping them build confidence and overcome self-doubt. His difficult childhood didn't just make him stronger, it gave him a unique gift for helping others heal from similar wounds. The very thing that was meant to destroy him became his greatest contribution to the world. This is the deeper truth about toxic people. They're often unconscious teachers, showing up in your life to force you to develop qualities you wouldn't have needed otherwise. They push you to find strength you didn't know you had, to set boundaries you didn't know you needed, to value yourself in ways you might have taken for granted. The psychology behind this transformation: when we find meaning in our suffering, it literally changes how our brains process the experience. Instead of storing it as pure trauma, we file it away as wisdom. This is why people who've overcome significant challenges often report feeling grateful for the experience, even though they wouldn't wish it on anyone else. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, look for ways to use your experiences to help others. This doesn't mean becoming a therapist or writing a book. Though you could do those things, it might mean being the person who listens without judgment when a friend is going through a difficult relationship. It might mean modeling healthy boundaries in your own life so others can see what's possible. When you transform your pain into purpose, you complete the healing process. You take something that was done to you and turn it into something you choose to do for others. Final thoughts. If you've made it this far, you're already on the path to emotional mastery. The smartest way to deal with toxic people isn't about changing them, outsmarting them, or even avoiding them completely. It's about becoming someone who is genuinely unaffected by their dysfunction while using every difficult experience as fuel for your own growth. Here's what I want you to remember. Every toxic person who enters your life is carrying a sign that says, "Here's your next lesson in becoming unstoppable." They don't mean to help you, but they do. They think they're breaking you, but they're actually forging you into someone stronger, wiser, and more emotionally intelligent than you could have become without them. The people who tried to dim your light are now the reason it shines so bright. The ones who told you that you weren't enough are the reason you know your own worth so deeply. The relationships that nearly broke you are the reason you're now virtually unbreakable. Your next steps: start implementing the techniques we've discussed today. Practice staying calm in the face of provocation. Stop seeking approval from people who've proven they don't have your best interests at heart. Begin viewing difficult people as unwitting teachers rather than enemies. Most importantly, start using your experiences to help others who are where you used to be. Take a moment to reflect on how far you've already come. The fact that you watched this entire video shows that you're ready to take your power back and become someone that toxic people simply can't affect anymore. If this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling us about your own journey with toxic people and how you've grown stronger because of it. Remember, your story isn't defined by what people did to you. It's defined by what you chose to do with what they did to you. And judging by the fact that you're here, investing in your own growth and emotional strength, I can tell your story is going to have an incredible ending. You're not just surviving toxic people, you are thriving because of them. And that is the smartest, most powerful way to deal with toxic people that exists.